guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm so grateful to have you as a viewer today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. We are here to bring you the best personal development content that you can find out there. Here at the Swan Podcast, our main intention is to educate you, empower you, and evolve your life. So if you love all things personal development and transformation, then this is the place for you. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe and hit the like button before the video is over so you don't forget. And be sure to follow us on all our social media platforms at The Real Ashley Watkins and at the Swan Podcast. Enjoy the show.
Hey guys, and welcome to episode 5 of the Swan Podcast, where we educate, empower, and evolve you so you can be your best self. So on today's episode, we are going to be talking about evolving your love life. And we have a very special guest on today. Her name is Ischa Oden, and she's an emotional intelligence coach. She teaches you how to recognize your emotions and use them for your success instead of your demise. Hi, Ischa, how are you?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me today. And how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for your time. So the first question I want to ask you is, how did you get into emotional intelligence coaching?
Well, I think I've been a coach for years, probably since 11. As a young child, and I don't know why adults were like really comfortable with telling me their problems, their marital issues and stuff, and like just asking for advice. So I remember, thinking back as a 10 and 11-year-old, like, you shouldn't be asking me. I'm a kid, right? But I would come up with different things to help them. So as I got older, I started my degree to become a psychologist when I realized that I did not want to practice in medicine. I didn't want to practice with the diagnosing of mental health, but I wanted to be able to be a support. I wanted to be able to hug my clients. I wanted to have more free range. And so that's when I did some research and decided, you know what, this is best fit. I am best fit to become a life coach. So as I started my journey, I trained under master life coach Kissy Denise. I started to really pay attention just in my own personal life, how my emotions was affecting my relationships, my emotional outbursts to certain things, or not just love relationships, but just everyday people with your neighbors, in your work, even with your children, which is one of the more unfiltered ones where it's considered a cliche or a no-go bounds where we really can't correct people in parenting because it's my kid. Yeah. So once I realized that my emotions were infecting every single area of my life and the decisions that I made, that's when I realized there needed to be a change. So I started reading books. I started doing like research online. I listened to spiritual advisors as well as very famous life coaches such as Tony Robbins, or listening to TD Jakes or Ayana, or watching her shows Fix My Life. And I'm like, this is what I really want to do. And once I started applying certain principles and really being aware of how first I was feeling, and then what was the root cause of it, and then how to make a change for it. And then once I applied it, I was able to see the change, and I just repeated the process. And then as I started repeating the process, I started helping close friends and family around me, because they're the first ones that benefit just calling every day for the advice. And I'm like the friend that everyone calls. And then I started to get more confidence under, life coaching, through my master life coach, to get out there and promote myself. And then that's how I started gaining clients. And she always sends she gets like some extra clients and this dealing with the emotions. She always say, this is not my area of expertise. I'm going to send them over to Ischa. And of course I'm like, welcome home, baby. So
I'm so happy you specialize in that because it's needed, which is going to bring me to my next question. So there's some people listening right now, and they may not understand what emotional intelligence is. And I think in the grand scheme of things, we're not really taught about our emotions and managing our emotions. So in the simplest way possible, how can you define for us what exactly is emotional intelligence?
We have emotions. I'll just name the two basic ones: anger and happiness. So, anger and happiness can either, and they're not necessarily, we want to say, we get to saying happiness is good and anger is bad. That is not true. They are necessary for both. So when you are with me and we're going over through sessions, I show you that it's basically an alarm to say something. Either this is something good that I like, or this is something that I don't like. Mm-hmm. And then really getting to the bottom of it and then learning how to use it in an effective way. Learning how to use it where you get the end result that you desire versus not getting what you want.
Right.
So I think that's like go ahead.
I'm sorry. So when an emotion comes up, that is just an opportunity for you to kind of dig and see what's going on under that emotion.
Oh, absolutely. And it helps us to really navigate through certain relationships and then to learn ourselves. A lot of this goes back to childhood, though.
Right.
A lot of core things about ideas are already implemented long before we become teenagers or adults. It's like a clear chalkboard where different things are written on, either through video, either through family experiences, through friendships, good and bad. And they kind of develop into the people that we're going to be. So that it's not something that people pay attention to all the time, but it's something that happens whether if you are aware of it or not. Or, I mean, how many times have we been in relationships and we hear from men, you're so emotional.
Right.
And it's used as like we feel less than, or like, well, why am I like this? Or we got to feel like we got to hide our emotions just because you're not understanding them or just because you're afraid of them. And they're not to be hidden because it's just going to come out in different areas. It's like a pimple. You solve it one area and it's going to come up some other else until you deal with the root of it.
Yeah. And I think too, like you said, and that's a good point to make, is that because most people just tuck their emotions, especially men. Am I back lined up?
Okay, repeat that again for me because you cut out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's a good point to make because mostly, especially men, we're taught to like tuck our emotions, or sometimes even in the Black community, it's like you're seen as stronger if you don't show any emotion, or when a hardship or something that should like really trigger emotion happens, you're looked at as weak. So you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna just hold it down and I'm not going to. So what happens when you don't either express the emotions or you don't explore them? Like, how does that affect people?
So we'll talk about, and not that these are not just exclusive for men or exclusive for women, because some thought they couldn't show any emotions, which is how my household was. And then some families were taught with their daughters, they were taught that they couldn't have emotions, but then some boys were taught you can express as much as you want. So this is what happens from the household where you can't express your emotions. Mm-hmm. You get into a relationship and let's say your partner is flirting with women online, tell them that they're beautiful or talking about the shape of their body. Mm-hmm. You know that it bothers you. It makes you feel that he's being inappropriate or that it is a form of cheating. But if you say something to him, he might consider it what you call tripping. Girl, don't trip on me. You're just being insecure. So they use all these different words to keep you in a box where you feel like you don't say something. So in result that you don't say something to this guy about what you're feeling, but when he tries to come home and make love, you don't want to sleep with him. Right. You have an attitude. You used to cook for him every day. Now you only cook him meals every other day. Or you see his laundry, you can do it yourself. I don't want to do for you anymore. So then the male perceives it as, oh, she's acting funny. She's switching up. And let's say he just got engaged to you, right? He probably thinks that you're switching up because now you're getting comfortable because y'all got engaged, right?
It's a whole miscommunication going on.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, see, I give her this ring and now she's switching up. She'll do my laundry no more. She'll cook no meal. I'm not getting the loving that I need, not realizing it's really about the fact that you disrespected me online, but I'm not communicating. So your mind will fill in anything. So now he's trying to fill in and make up all the reasons as to why she's acting like this. And so he starts to pull out. He starts to go, whatever he's missing at home, he starts to look outside the door. Oh, yeah, she cooked a meal for me today. Oh, thanks, Shorty. And you guys get further apart. Now she's like, oh, so you cheating and flirting online, and now
Right.
you're the so, and it's all over something really simple that could have got resolved if we use our emotions in the proper way. And how it should, or how, because I don't tell people that they should do anything.
Right.
But from my expertise level, from coaching clients, is that what the woman should have said was, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Once you calm down, once you really got the conversation and some of the anger out, where you can communicate in an effective way to say, I love you. I love our relationship. This is what I love about you. I love that you proposed to me and that you want me to be your wife. But I seen this online, and you told this young lady that the shape of her rear end was ABC. And that made me, I didn't feel special. I felt that was inappropriate. You're letting someone else feel special, and we're supposed to be going to the next level where it's just you and me.
Right.
That's something you do when you're friends, not when you're in a relationship. So I just want to get to the bottom of it. So give him an opportunity to explain himself. And then once you guys see where the head is at, oh, you know what? I did that a lot when I was single. I wasn't even thinking of that, babe. You know, he might say something like that. You know, I need to be more mindful, but I don't want her. I just was being a flirt. I don't even, matter of fact, I just look at her. Her faces look crazy. I never date her. So then once he realized, like, okay, I need to be more mindful. Let me not do that again. I apologize. He can do something special for you, or y'all can reconnect and then get over the hump. Because no long lasting relationship doesn't come without adversity. You just might not know about it. Go ahead.
You're also combining another thing. So like that lack of emotional intelligence is transcending into the inability to communicate. So
Yes.
if you aren't managing your emotions, then you can't effectively communicate your emotions. And then that goes back to what you were saying about the childhood thing. So I think for a lot of us, we weren't allowed to communicate anything as children. Like as children, sometimes you just have to just be quiet. So, okay, using that example, or not just using that example, but just in general, similar to that example, if you weren't raised to be able to communicate your emotions, how do you as an adult, like, okay, we can use me. If I was never raised to communicate my emotions, what tips can you give me to help me to learn to change? Because I can't just wake up one day and be like, okay, I'm going to communicate my emotions in a healthy way now. after 10 failed relationships and 2 baby daddies and 2 kids, now I'm just this next person. I'm just going to effectively communicate. Like, how can I get there from where I'm at?
It first has to start with a desire to want to change, to know that something is wrong and it's not working. So what I personally recommend is, depending on what type of learner you are, if you like books or if you like videos, I can do both because I'm, visual, audio. Start researching about what if, for me, if like, say if I'm in that shoes, I have lack of emotions. I will Google it. I have lack of emotions. What book can help me? Or I have lack of emotions, and watch a YouTube video come up that will be able to relate. You first have to start seeking, or you can start reaching out to your friends. Do you have a recommended person that can help with my emotions or the things that I'm going through in specific areas? Because if you seek it, it's going to come, and it's going to attract and come your way. Anything you seek.
Everything starts with self-awareness. Like,
yeah,
if you look at 10 of your last relationships failed, at some point you're going to be like, okay, what's the common denominator here? Like, who's making these relationships fail? And even in your example, it takes some maturity or emotional intelligence on both aspects of the relationship. Like both partners, I've been in situations where I was the emotional intelligent person, But I was constantly trying to get this person to come join me over here in emotional intelligence world where we're communicating.
You are speaking my language. I cannot tell you how many times I feel like I am the teacher in my relationships, and you will get exhausted.
I know. Is that cool? Like, or do you say, okay, so if do I say, okay, well, you're just not on my level?
You cut out.
Can you hear me? Hello, we're froze.
Okay.
Now you froze.
Okay, so now I'm freezing. Oh man. Okay.
Okay, we're both back. So I was gonna ask you, so like usually there's like this theory that like if I'm the example or the light, then even if you're not with me on the same level as me, eventually if I continue to be this way, then you'll start to kind of be like that too. Is that true? Or do I say, no, you're not the person for me. I need to go find somebody that knows how to have a good communication and they have control over their emotional intelligence? Do I stick with that person? I know we don't want to tell people to leave their mates, but how do you gauge? Like, what can I work with? Because nobody's perfect.
It's hard when you come through the self-awareness of a relationship that already has its foundation.
Right.
Because there's already been a set way of doing things and now you're switching up. Even if that's what's best for you, that might not be what's best for your partner at their current space. Yeah. And it's okay. You can still stay there until you're comfortable, because you may realize that you have outgrown. So the first thing I want to get at, because I heard you say failed relationships. When I hear failed relationships, my heart drops, right? It's because it makes, like somewhere along the way, it can make you feel like I'm less than, I'm not worth it.
Or so I did it wrong.
Yep. So I changed the language to say that relationship has come to its completion.
I like that.
So you have completed level 1 to Tyrone. Level 2.
Listen, it ain't never my fault anyways. I don't care what you. I'm just playing.
I like this sound. Listen, you gonna sleep good every night.
I ain't do nothing wrong.
I sleep good. I ain't do nothing wrong.
You failed. That's what happened. Yes. No, I'm just kidding.
You're fine. Everybody needs a good laugh. So these relationships, and when we have those one-on-one sessions, we talk about what you learned and what you didn't learn. They were just a grade level. So I help really change the perspective of what you really feel coming out of that relationship and what lessons you have learned that got you to the next level with the next person.
Right.
So that's the first thing. The second thing, I'm not on the same level. That is constantly my struggle. But it's okay if you're not on the same level, because a lot of times we have complementary partners where you're strong in intelligence, you're strong with budgeting, and you're strong with cooking. He's strong with providing, financial resources, raising children, and maybe have more patience to your impatience. So you really have to look at, what do I bring to the table that's for the benefit, and what does my partner bring to the table, and then really combine them together. Right. So how to know if it's going to work? I'd have to dig a little bit deeper to talk about the foundation. Mm-hmm. The foundation that you really have to know is who you are, to know who aligns with you.
Right.
And you need to make sure that your partner has the foundational pieces. One of the big things for me was that my partner is open to grow for new things, and that my partner is a provider. I do not want to take care of no man. I don't want to have to worry about a bill being down and then he looking at me too. And it's not to say that your partner may come short, because that may happen. But as what he's known, as what his mindset is, to provide for me and my household.
Right.
So you have to know the foundational pieces that are together for you. And then not the foundational piece, the topical that you can kind of work through. And you'll only know that really going through that, because it's a learning process for myself as well as others. And in my current relationship, I am more emotionally intelligent. in my current relationship. So it requires a lot of trial and error. And then it also requires a lot of patience. I think one of the greatest gifts that I believe that God, and you may call your creator something different, is that the ability to understand and have empathy. So I can see things from your point of view, his point of view, her point of view. So once I'm able to understand from his point of view, I'm better to not take things personal and just lead my partner through. Right. And we can't heal our men. We can't. But what we can do is give them the space to grow, to make errors, and give them the resources. So what I did was I said, hey, babe, this is something that I noticed. And he barked, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, he dated older women than me. You know, I'm only 3 years older. I'm like, babe, I might be only older, but man, it's like a 60-year-old woman worth of wisdom up in here.
I've been doing this since I was 11. You better ask about me.
Yes, you better ask. So as time went on and he would see more and more of himself, and you know, we'll laugh about it like this, like, yeah, you kind of slapped at me, and yo, I did that? Because people ain't know. So I'm like, yeah, babe, you did that. And that's when he realized, like, okay, I thought I was that dude, and I meet you, and I got a lot going on. So he started to seek out help. And then me and his best friend linked up, and we were on the same path, and she told him the same thing. And so he went, he started getting counseling, and I swear that's his new girlfriend. He'd be like, she's so proud of me today. I'll be like, oh,
I love that. I like my therapist like that too. I ain't mad at you, brother. Yeah. I'll be like, what you doing for dinner later?
Yes, so we did that aspect, and then just friends just really pouring into him, and just different stories and stuff. So before we can do, because I do believe in, of course, therapy, before we can do relationship therapy, you first got to know yourself. Right. So he's going through some things that he has to work through. And now I just give him the space and the patience, and just, I mean, there's so many times that you'll want to put the towel in, and people won't tell you about those down times or whatnot that you'll go through, but you really just have to wait it out. And you got to ask yourself, am I part of the solution, or am I part of the problem? Not me. Yeah. I can be a little spoiled. I
don't mean to cut you off, but there's also like a fine line. I know in my personal life, I was dating someone a few years ago, and this person was on their journey, right? So you give them, like you said, a space to grow. But we as women have to know when we are seeing more potential in the person than they're actually willing to do. Because that was a situation where when I look back, I'm like, you know, he was trying, but he wasn't really willing. And it was more on my coercion and him doing it because I wanted him to do it. And then it would kind of fall apart. Like I would see these little moments of progress, which can be tricky because you're like, oh, he's getting it together, you know, and then it would be like this inconsistency. And I would say to myself, like, you know, I don't know if he really needs this. And I honestly, in that situation, I stepped away so that he could focus on himself. Because I'm like, the relationship is actually a distraction to you. Like, if we continue to focus on dating, like we at Denny's and you depressed, like you messing up the date. But I'm cracking jokes, but like seriously, like as women, we also have to gauge, like, at what point is it healthy? You know, is it healthy to still have the relationship when there's so much self-work that needs to be done? Even for the women, if you got a whole bunch of self-worth, because he used to be like, well, I don't think you should leave me in the midst of my stress. And I'm like, I can't help you. Like you said, I can't heal you. I can't save you. And I think we look for that in other people, and we don't want to become self-aware at all.
I'm going to touch on 2 points, and I'll be having to take notes so I can remember. So the first point I'm going to touch on is the healing someone, just because I've been through that and what your emotions is really trying to tell you. And then the second point on, if you are currently in a relationship, and it's going to be an unpopular opinion, if you're currently in one and you know that your partner needs a lot of work. So the first one is healing someone. So I used to call myself the cleanup woman. A man would be going through a relationship issue, or will be dealing with a breakup, and I was the woman that cleaned them up, right? I didn't know that at the time. That's just something that I did, my nurturing nature, encouraging them. And they would get themselves built right back up and walk on off to the woman that they had desired.
Baby, I'm about to get up out this podcast.
They will overlook you and all the work that you have put inside them. And when you are sexually active with a man, he picks up your ways, your language, and you'll pick up his ways and his language, because that is the closest connection that you can have to a person. Sidebar, that's also when you know when a man's cheating, because he'll start picking up a language of another woman that you know that doesn't go on in your household. I don't need to go through no phones. I can tell by the language of how I speak versus how another. And when you read people's page, they don't think that it's not them. It's of their mindset. It's of their mindset. So if I watch your language online and my man has been interacting and he starts to speak your language, I know that at the minimum he's been in conversation or in your presence at the minimum. So you have to know the language of what they're speaking and what they're saying. So when you do that and you heal a man, he don't see you anymore, because they want to be able to provide for you. Even the broke dudes, they want to really provide, but it's their mindset that really has to change, and they will not hear from you. Do not underestimate, ladies, in the benefit of friendship. So one, we can prevent a lot of this if we know who we're really dealing with. If we come off with dating, I'm going to hide certain things from you because I want to put myself in the best light. Not always to deceive you, but it's just something that we do, even if we don't have bad intentions. But you really need to know who you're really dealing with, and to know, does it really align with what you're doing? Because there's a lot of men that I've dated that should have only been my clients, and we should have never even stepped on that level.
Ooh, this is
the second thing.
Lord Jesus.
The second thing is when you're in a relationship and you know that your partner needs a lot of work. You are not gonna like what I'm about to say, ladies. But if you want it to work, you need to pay attention. You need to stop having sex. You have got to stop having sex. I'm not telling you something I don't live. My partner is getting better because we stopped having sex. When we got together, when you intertwine in your body and your spirits, or you may call it energies, a lot of unkept things come up. And there was a lot of conflict from his past that has never been properly dealt with, because he doesn't know how to emotionally communicate what was really going on. Right. So what he used to do is, I cut you off. You got to go. And he would go on to the next. But he go on to the next, and you carrying baggage and baggage and baggage. And then he brought that to my front door. And I, went through therapy. I had a trauma coach to help deal with the childhood. I have a pastor. I have a, relationship with my creator. And I have a life coach. So I got a whole deck on team, thousands of dollars that I invested in myself. Right. And then you bring this trash to my door. I said, no. You need to deal with it. Now, I didn't impress, don't give ultimatums. It might feel good. Don't give ultimatums. State, this is where I am. Either you come up to this level or you don't. And I feel that he is for me, because when I said, you can't keep bringing this to my door, and I meant that, or I will walk away. If it is for you, it ain't about what right or wrong. If it is for you, he will rise to the occasion, or vice versa.
Amen. Listen.
And so, you have got to take your emotions out of it. You will take things. You ever date a guy that had a trait about him you knew, and it was cool, and then you started to fall in love, and then it started not to be cool? That confuses the other person. I showed you who I was, and now it's a problem just because your emotions are involved. But when you get in that physical act, more expectations, more feelings, more things come along, and it can get convoluted, and from you really seeing what your partner needs.
So just to clear up your advice,
go ahead.
So you stay in the relationship, meaning you don't break up with them. You just stop the sexual part.
Correct. So that you can clearly see what's going on. Now, you may see that this is crazy. I was doing too much. I got to go. In which, that's fine. Or you may see, I have missed a few steps. I should have not done this. Because that's
Right.
what happened in my relationship. It was, wow, I really didn't see this. I missed a few steps. And you got, and don't be afraid, because one of the biggest things women do, if I stop having sex, he's going to
He
cheat on
gonna
me.
leave me or he gonna cheat
Yeah,
on me.
it's going,
Yeah,
if he going to leave or he going to cheat, he going to do it while he's with you anyways.
that's true.
It, you want to make sure that you get the best deal out of it and you be able to live with yourself tomorrow. Oftentimes we betray ourselves in order to please others. And the thing is, when we are trying to heal someone and we put in all this energy, change, you're doing this, you're treating me like this, I can't believe that you just quit, and I stick by you years and years. It's really your energy and your spirit saying, I've been sticking by you years for years, but you've been picking this man over me. You've been
Oh,
trying to heal him, but you're really trying to heal yourself.
yeah, yeah.
That is the bigger thing that is trying to say, you're trying to get him to do what you can't do. Because if you really loved yourself, you would have never been in this predicament in the first place. You're begging him to heal you is what you're really trying to do, and it'll never be done. That's an
Child,
inside job. I'm done.
can you
I'm
take a
done.
deep breath? Because
All right.
I need to process. Can we process? Can we can we digest this for a moment? Like,
Okay.
give us a second. Give us a
Okay.
second.
I'll take a sip. My tea.
Some people wasn't ready for that, but okay. So now listen. We talking about relationship, but you just triggered a lot of things that in a line. And we're going to step out of relationship mode territory and we're going to go into single territory because of something that I truly believe that you said that I learned is when you're dating, when you're dating, a lot of times you do not, number one, be that person friend first. You end up having sex with them very quickly. Number two, you get love bombed. And this has happened to me multiple times where the guy
Narcissist. Those are one of the hardest relationships you will ever get.
And when you and see what prevents getting love bombed though is being that person's friend. Now, in most situations, and if I'm gonna just talk about love bombing for a minute because I don't want to assume everybody knows what it is.
Right.
So to be love bombed, this is how you know if you've been love bombed before. It happened to me recently, but I knew what it was.
But then you was aware. You got comfortable and said, hold on. I've seen this before.
I said, you trying to love bomb me. I was like, hold on. But okay, so this is what it is when you get.
So that's important, ladies, that she's saying that she's been through this before. She know this feeling. You can't get just stuck in happiness either, because you'll get carried away. You have to recognize your patterns. So she said, hold on, this is a red flag.
Listen, I am the perfect target for a love bomber. And let me tell you why. Because I am love queen. I love love.
Right.
And like
I love you, girl.
Yes. If you come up to me talking about, I would, and this is how they always come. This is how the love bombers come. They be like, I mean, they ain't even got to know you good. And they like, it's something about you. I could see myself being married to you. You got all the qualities that I need and want a lot. And what helped me to recognize that shit was some bullshit was that I would go to myself now. So I'm great, but there's no way you know this that fast. That's the first thing. Like, you can't possibly know that you want to marry me after 2 days. Like, you over here making all these promises to me, and I haven't even showed you how great I am. Like, if you think about it, like, I haven't showed you everything. I mean, just some conversations. And those situations is what I call getting swept off your feet and dropped on your head. Because you really do. And you get so caught up in the fantasy of the future. So when you do that, and then you combine sex, because it's exactly what you said, it's so hard.
That dopamine, that drug that come out, the love drug.
How am I going to back out now?
Yeah, you're chasing it.
In my mind, we married.
3 babies.
I done planned it all out. So swinging it back to you, because you're the expert. Now, I'm telling you, I done learned from the lesson. So now I know the signs, and I'm just like, eh. But how do women avoid that? Because like when you're dating, especially if you're like me, I'm single and I'm like, look, I'm looking for a husband. Where are you? And if you're having that energy, you are open. You're open to, if you don't know yourself very well, you're open, you're vulnerable. And when that guy comes up and he's like, okay, I'm your husband,
Right.
Thank you, God, I'm gonna go. And
Right.
like, it's like, hold on, wait a minute. Like, what do you do?
I'm going to save the story because it was so funny that you had said, like, I'm your husband. So with my current boyfriend, I did that. I believe that that's my husband. I told his mom the first time that we did an alone date, and it was only maybe a month or two in, like, I'm gonna marry your son, right? Like, so but
it could be true.
It can, but I'm gonna get into that in later. I'm gonna save that towards the end.
Okay.
The first 3 tips is love yourself. And people say, what do I mean by love myself? Start to find enjoyment in single events with just you. Mm-hmm. I used to be very uncomfortable going to the movies by myself. So what I did was just took myself out on a date. It was Tuesdays. It was the $5 ones. My son would be at school. I would take myself on a date. Mm-hmm. Then I started going out to restaurants, and you could feel a little awkward. So sometimes you want to have your phone, but sometimes that can be a cover for you. So I would bring a book. So that way, while I'm eating, I'm reading, but I'm enjoying this time alone. And then when I'm at home, I started figuring out by myself what type of activities. I love doing my fingernails and my feet, trying a new hairstyle, listening to an encouraging video, or I'll start working out. And then I started trying different activities, which one of the things I got into was hiking. So I seen a girl posting pictures long before she created her group about hiking. I'm like, wow, this seems nice, seems different. One of the best decisions I made, she came up with a group called Black Girls Hiking. I would come in and join with them, and then we just would go on hikes. We have light conversations, nothing really deep, people you connect with, and it was so therapeutic, because if you're the type of person like I am, I'm constantly in my thoughts, I'm thinking. You can't do that while you're hiking, or you're going to miss a step and you're going to go tumbling down. So it was very, very therapeutic. So I started doing those certain things. I started getting a physical trainer because I had gained some weight. So if I feel good here, it's going to translate here. Mm-hmm. And if I'm meeting with these people and doing this, and I'm getting out and I'm seeing what things are like without love being involved.
All right. So you're completing yourself, basically.
Yes. So I always recommend the first tip is date yourself, even if it's uncomfortable. It's not supposed to be peaches and creams because you're learning something about yourself. Mm-hmm. It could be a bubble bath. If you are a parent that you get no time away, it's when the kids go to sleep. If they need some extra sleep, there is melatonin is what you can recommend. Check with your doctors first, ladies. So that put them on a bed routine and get you a bath. And then spend some time, not in conversation with your girlfriends, just some alone time, some stillness. If you like meditating, you can do that as well. Just sit in some stillness. And then the second thing is make a list. Tell me about how beautiful you are.
That's right.
We be building these men up. We build our children up. We'll give our lives to our families. Listen, I think I got the prettiest complexion. I love my teeth. I love my smile. I got a big old booty, okay? I got the jumpers up here, too. I know that I can be physically fit. Now, I got a lot of love weight, ladies, so if you go to my profile, you'd be like, woo, she kind of big. So I need to join one of Ashley's programs. You'll be seeing me very soon. But I love myself. I have a good heart. I'm caring. I care about people. So I want you to start thinking about things of yourself. And if you're saying to myself, well, I can't see nothing good, call the people that is closest to you and say, what's 3 good things about me? If you don't know, call your circle around you or ask some of your Facebook friends. We make Facebook stats. What are 3 good things that you notice about me? Because there's qualities that you don't know that other people see that you have yet to see in yourself. And then the third thing is what you can do. And I learned this just reading about wholeness. This is a book, Torrey Roberts, Very, very, very awesome. I still got the sticker on there, y'all. I went to Ollie's and got it. It's
What's the
one of
name
my
of
favorite
that?
places. It's called Wholeness.
Wholeness by Torrey Roberts.
Yes. This is Sarah Jakes Roberts, which is TD Jake's
Yes,
daughter's husband. Yeah, her love story is awesome.
I love them.
So you really have to take an assessment of every single relationship that you've been through. Of, let's say, Michael, Ron, and Bobby. Everything that you liked out of them. You don't overlap the qualities, just or everything you liked. Once you got that composite list, that can be your foundational frame to build for the next person.
That's a good idea.
And so once you got that list, you know, like, I want my man, he got to cook. My man, I learned from next week, he got to pay bills. He also got to be respectful. I mean, I had a last man, he paid bills, but he didn't talk to me too good.
Right.
So you have to build your list. And then as you go through this journey, as wholeness, through wholeness and completion of learning yourself, then you'll have a better gauge with men.
Right.
That's about what are you going to attract for. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it really is, everybody's going to give you the tips. You're not going to always be able to 100% relate, but take what you need or what you relate to and what's for you and spit out the rest, because one part could be for one person, next part can be for the next person. So that's it. Those are my 3 tips.
Those are awesome tips. I've done all of those things, by the way, guys. I still ain't got no man, but I just wanted to make that point. I'm out here, and my list has changed multiple times because, like you said, there will be some. I dated the perfect guy, the last guy that I dated, and he just wasn't ready for a relationship. Like, he had everything on the list except he wasn't ready for a relationship.
And that is the most important thing that you want.
That was the most important thing and I had never put that on the list before. I thought we were friends first. We were getting along great, but I never put on the list that he has to want to eventually be in a committed, serious relationship. And it was like, it was going on and on. And a lot of women are probably like this too in situations. So doing what you did, I took each experience and I said, okay, all of that. Plus he got to want to be my husband too. Like, we can't be getting all this and then we just friends. Like, I mean,
I got a 4th one that just came up to me that I did. So I realized my weakness is single parent. So being a single parent is something that was very tough on me. Having to go through the pregnancy alone, having to go through the birth. I had people there. So that prevents me from being bitter and sad, just because I have better things and I focus on the good things, not the bad, to say that. But that was something that I did not have. And so you want your child, because I have a boy, he's 8, to have a father figure. So that's my weakness. Be aware of your weakness, because there's a lot of men that know playing stepdaddy is the key to getting you.
Oh, girl, you ain't nothing but thing. Listen, these are such good tips. Because I don't know if any of you date online, but I date online, which I like dating online because it gives me an opportunity to kind of like get to know guys before I even decide if I want to even have a phone conversation with them. And what you said is very, very, this is my tip I'm throwing in.
Go ahead.
Very important. Stop telling guys every single thing about yourself and every single thing that you want in a man. Because that is what you're saying about the single. Like, a lot of times I talk to a guy on the phone and he asked me if I had kids. And this man was so too interested in if I had kids. And it was like, I don't even know if I want to go to coffee with you. Stop trying to prove that you're going to be a good father figure.
Right.
Because number one, you don't even know if they have father figures in their lives. My kids got mentors, big brothers. I got male friends that's in fraternities. I got my best friend is a Muslim. I got a whole community of black men plus they dads behind. That's right. So you can't even come to me trying to, whatever. But that's my tip, is that sometimes we tell way too much. And I've made that mistake a lot of times. And especially if I have a good rapport with people, and hence me having a podcast because I like to talk, I'll talk to people and then they're over there like, needs a father figure. They over there, and next thing you know, that's them. And then I find out later, you don't even like kids.
You, listen, I am a very open person, and I do recommend that advice unless you are very knowledgeable and self-aware, because I know that that's a weak spot. So he can be the greatest all you want. What a man really should be focusing on is what is your dislikes. Because I can hit everything on Ashley's list that you like: motivated, pay the bills, want to get married, take care of the kids, but I can also be very abusive. And so you got to make sure that you're not hitting people's, what do they call them? That you're not crossing people's boundaries, and that you're not hitting people's like, this ain't it. These are my don'ts.
Right.
A man can be everything he want, but if he start ringing on them bells,
oh, your non-negotiables.
Yes, non-negotiables. You found the word for me. Non-negotiables. And that's not something that we always talk about. We always talk about our thing of what we want. So these people are gonna weed themselves out anyway. They are. They really can't. You'll really start to really get the feel of a person. I used to say 6 months. I'm going to say more like 10 months. You'll see more of their traits, and watch how they treat people that they don't need. With the way that they talk to their exes or their baby mothers. Yeah, that B is bitter. Yeah, she ain't nothing but a you know what, because through a different series of actions and events, you going to be that B, and he's going to be telling the same story to another woman. So
episode over, okay? Because that is so true. That is
watch how he talk online. The way, I see a lot of women where men are online are saying, you bitches are so bitter. I'm going to start telling you bitches, I'm going to start telling these men happy Mother's Day. And I see women on there giggling and laughing because it's funny. And then you will allow this person to jump in your inbox. You'll date and be in love. And you'll see other women on there. You'll see everything that you needed to know about him on his Facebook page. You will get with him and then start complaining about everything that you've seen. You just wasn't paying attention. You never thought about, if this was my man, would I want my man talking about other women like this or me like this? He could have been talking about the woman that he's with. We kiki and we laugh and we're so excited to be chosen, but we need to make sure that he's something that's worth being chosen for. Women, you are a prize. I don't care what has happened to you. What has happened to you is not who you are. Yes. You have an opportunity to define who you are. The reason why men are not getting over per se, but a lot of them are getting what they want is because we don't know who we really are, and we're not willing to stand up to say, either you gonna put up or shut up or you gotta go. Right. We're afraid to really use and acknowledge our power, and because of that, and they know what they can do, then that's where we start to lose. They can say that, for every guy, there's 10 women. Okay, baby, but there ain't never one like me. You will always be looking for me in another woman. You bring some confidence with yourself. I'm Ischa Lachey, and what you ain't going to do is this, because I know this about me, and if you don't appreciate, there might be 10 women for every man, but another man come in 15 minutes. Right. Remember, it's easier for men to come. They like to hunt more than we do. So I can get them just like you can. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to move over. Don't be afraid to move on if someone is trying to use that against you. Don't be afraid.
So I like that. I'm going to let that be our last tip. You definitely said something that I agree. I believe in your power to walk away. And not being so stuck. So moving on from tips, you got some books that you want to share with us, don't you?
Yes.
You shared the Teray book, Wholeness.
Yes.
And then what other books would you recommend our listeners check out? Because I like to read.
Trauma and Recovery. The Aftermath. You don't have to write the aftermath because that's like the second part of it. The Aftermath of Violence from Domestic Abuse to Political Terror. Now, this is by Judith Herman.
Okay.
It really helps you to understand the effect of trauma and to really just be gentle with yourself during this process. And I also recommend having a trauma coach. Mine was Jen Peters. You can find her on Instagram. She has changed my life. I'm talking about 32 years of my dad is a deadbeat and taking it personal towards me. Just one conversation, one session, just be open to the experience where it changed my mind and I have been healed from it. She
That's
also teaches us how to deal with our childhood, really going back to those times and those events and really rewriting it for ourselves and really empowering ourselves instead of being a victim. And we've all been victims in situations, but more coming more of a victorious out of the situation versus the way that you came in. She's also specializes in narcissistic abuse. If you are having a hard time leaving a narcissistic relationship, and I went to her. I did not. I've been praying, and prayer does help. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes the things don't manifest at the time that you want them to, but it is succession. But she said by session 7 you'll leave. I was gone by session 3 from from the relationship that I had. That was very, very narcissistic, very hard to get out of. A lot of love bombing, manipulation, just a lot. So you can't do this by yourself.
We want to thank you for those resources, but we want to help our audience get connected to you. So
okay.
Tell us how to get you, because some of us need this emotional intelligence coaching, whether you believe it or not, or whether you think you need it or not.
Right.
How can we find Miss Ischa, and how can we get help or get your services?
Okay, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram under Lashae, and that's LASHAE_your coach_your life.
I love that. All right. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
This was an awesome conversation. These are the dope conversations that we need. I hope people got some really good tips. I even got some tips out of this that I'm going to utilize in my life. And I'm going to hope that everybody that listens is going to be able to evolve their love life. So thank you guys for listening. Thank Ischa for her time with us today and her expertise. And I hope you guys tune in to the next episode. Have a good day.
Thank you.